So Peter, can you give the viewers more information on this new BC Refederation Party?
Well, it's hardly a new party, Jan. They have been registered since 2001.
What I can't understand is why until last week, I had never heard of them.
And that's quite understandable given their mandate. I've studied their website refedbc.com, and I have to tell you, Jan, I'm very impressed with what I see. The most likely reason you have never heard of them is because the media so far has given them very little coverage. And given the fact that their intention is to put the authority over government back into the hands of the voters, you can understand why their message is being stifled.
From your observations, Peter, what would you say makes the Refed Party different than any other BC party?
They are the only BC party offering solutions. Refed have a simple, but very powerful 1-2-3 plan. First, they want to introduce a constitution that the people of BC can review, agree upon, and finally sign into law. Then,
sorry to interrupt you there, Peter, but doesn't BC already have a constitution?
That's a good point, Jan. And until I review their information at refedbc.com, I thought so too. However, what I found, and I must emphasize this is fully searchable through government documents, what I found is that no, British Columbia does not have a constitution. What we have is a Constitution Act.
Well, isn't it the same thing, Peter? Come on.
No, it isn't. A constitution are a set of rules which the people are willing to be governed by. Once the people have agreed those are the rules with which they want it to be governed by, the government then makes into law.
So what then is a Constitution Act?
In simple terms, a Constitution Act is when a politician or group of politicians declare, here are a set of rules we have devised, and you people must live by them. Hardly a democratic process. But that's not all. I also checked into this at the federal level, and the same is true.
Wow. Peter, this is amazing. Please go on.
The second step is to use that newly ratified BC Constitution to give the people direct democracy. What that means, Jan, is that the voters will have the power to veto bad legislation brought in by the BC government, but not just a vote at election time, as it is now. No, the voters of BC would have 4 opportunities each year to challenge and veto any legislation that the people deem would be bad for BC.
I can see how that would be a powerful democratic process, but how would it work? I mean, it's never been tested, has it?
Well, that's not quite accurate, Jan. A similar system has been in place in Switzerland for over 150 years, and Switzerland has one of the most democratic political systems in the world.
That's true.
Also, under the Refed Direct Democracy Plan, the results of a resulting referendum would be binding on government. As an example, the results of the HST referendum under a Refed government would be binding on the government, whereas under the current rules it is not.
Please go on.
The third step in the BC Refed plan is to renegotiate with Ottawa the provincial powers that have been unlawfully claimed by the federal government.
What powers are you referring to?
Well, to begin with, there is the unlawful direct taxing of British Columbians.
Peter, can you explain to our viewers what you mean by direct tax?
Certainly. Direct tax would be income tax, GST, and now HST.
I'm sorry, Peter, I have a problem with that. How can the federal government taking income tax from me be unlawful?
When the 3 original Canadian provinces decided they needed a small central government, and let me say, Jan, the emphasis was on small. The provinces, created the federal government, and one of the things that they wrote into the BNA Act was that the provinces alone had the authority to collect direct taxes. In fact, the new federal government was explicitly prohibited from direct taxing Canadians, and there was no direct tax for the first 50 years of this nation. Because of time, I won't get into the mechanics of it, but anyone can go to refedbc.com and research this.
Well, I have to say, Peter, I have certainly learned a lot so far. However, has it not been said that the BC Refed Party want to separate?
That is a common misconception, which gets momentum from misinformation. I admit I too was guilty of thinking this, until I actually visited the refedbc.com website and read through their information, which was very easy to understand, and easy to navigate.
Well, thanks for that, Peter. I for one will be checking out the refedbc.com website. That's tonight's news, from me, Jan. Good night, and have a safe weekend.
And it's good night from me, Peter. I now pass you along to our new weatherman, Gordon Campbell. Good night everyone.